Welcome to the Kingdom Culture Podcast that was created on purpose with a purpose to empower, uplift, and guide others to the center of God's perfect will. Kingdom Culture family, welcome back to the Kingdom Culture Podcast. This week we're going to be diving into friendships. What are they? How do you know how to deal with people and situations, right? Now, you have to understand that people are complex. Everybody has their own baggage. Everybody has their own past. Everybody grew up differently than you. So the only thing you can actually do with people is look at yourself and figure out what your boundaries are going to be, what you want out of friendships, what kind of relationships you're trying to cultivate, what is going to be your foundation for those relationships, and what are you trying to, accomplish with people. I think that as I grew up and I went through my healing journey, I realized that I had a lot of people around, but none of them really truly knew me. I never let my walls down to let them know hey, you know what? I grew up with a lot of trauma. I grew up with a lot of hurt. And so I have boundaries for myself. And if you pass those boundaries, we're going to have problems. But that's because I didn't know myself. So the number one thing is to analyze who you are. What are you trying to do with your life? Who are you trying to become? And are the surroundings that you have yourself in fitting that new you? As I said, as I started going through my healing journey, I came to realize that I'm a giving person. I'm a loving person. I have this love language of giving and being uplifting and feeding into other people. That's just who I am. I love it. And with that comes some difficulties, because at some point I felt like the people that I had in my life were not replicating it. They were not giving me back. And so it became very tiring, because I would look for somebody, I would text them, I would check up on them, I would send them gifts, I would do all the things, and I never heard back from them. They never checked in on me. They never gave me back what I was giving. And so I took it out on them and said, you know what? You're not a good friend. Bye. But in reality, I don't like when people say toxic friendships or, people are toxic, because it's not true. It's just the fact that they have some healing to do, and you have to decide if you're going to be there for those people or you're going to put your boundaries up and distance yourself. That's all it is. People are too complex to put it into simple toxic, non-toxic labels. And so when I was going through my relationships and analyzing who I'm trying to become, I realized that a lot of my old friends, we used to just drink and party and have a good time on the weekends, and then just kind of have a cycle during the week. And now that I'm where I am, I realize that I want people that are going to hold me accountable. I want people that are going to look into who I am and make sure that I'm okay mentally, emotionally. I want people that are going to call me on my BS and say, you're wrong for that. Go apologize or change something. Because those are the type of people that actually care about you. If you have a bunch of friends that don't care about those things, I want to suggest that you analyze who you're trying to become. Because the moment that you have people that love you for you and accept you and hold you accountable is when your life starts to change and you start to see the better version of yourself. And you can't do life without people, but you also can't do life with the wrong people. Like I said, I was feeling tired. I was feeling like I was the only one feeding into these relationships. And so I cut them off. I literally said, nope, I don't need you. But what would have happened if I was where I am now, with the mindset that I have now of healing, right? I would have put up boundaries. I would have said, hey, I know that, I've been trying to reach you. I've been trying to contact you, and you're just not receiving, I'm not receiving the love back. Is there something we need to talk about? Or honestly, do we just got to end this friendship? I never had closure with those people. And I'm not saying that you need closure with everybody, but if they're meaningful friendships, but they're not fitting into who you're trying to become 5 years from now, it's okay to let go. But do it with grace, do it with love, and in a good note with people. because people are complex. Like I said, they have their own baggage, they have their own backgrounds, they have their own way of growing up. Everybody is different than you, and that's the one thing that you have to accept, so that you can see people for who they are and love them anyway, because you can love people from afar any day of the week. And I just kind of kicked them out and haven't talked to them since. But as I was preparing for this episode and analyzing, I'm just like, wow, you know what, I should have handled that differently. Another thing that I'm very grateful for that I've been learning is my boundaries with people. Like, I'm a very giving person, but now I catch myself, not doing much of that stuff. And it's not because I want to keep it to myself, but because it was tiring to show up for others and not have that back. It was tiring for me to feel like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't enough for them. I wasn't cool enough, like all of these things. But it's all from here, right? It all roots out from here. And you have to start with yourself. You can't blame somebody else for not giving you what you need, right? Excuse me. So I started looking into who I am, and I realized that, like, hey, Abril, nobody's going to have your heart. Nobody's going to give as much as you give, because they're not you. So what are some boundaries you can put up so that you don't feel so exhausted and feel like people are letting you down? So I started doing that. I started saying, like, okay, cool, I'm going to check in on people, but not every day. I'm going to check in on people, but if they don't reply to me, I'm not going to take it personal. I'm going to check in on people to make sure that they're good and wait for them to respond before I go and send another text or whatever. Another boundary that I put up is allowing myself to be okay if somebody walks out of my life, because I took that as a big, it took a big toll on me. It was like people were abandoning me, when in reality, our lives just don't fit with each other, right? So that was another big thing. It's like, I'm okay if a friend comes and tells me, like, hey, you know what, we're forcing this relationship. I don't want it anymore. So that's been a big blessing as well, because others have said, like, hey, I really, like, I can't. And that's okay. It's got nothing to do with you. Again, people are their own people, and they're going different places. And sometimes life just drifts you to different things. So learn to be okay when people tell you or say, hey, you know what, I don't like that. Or, hey, you know what, I don't like, this is just not working anymore. Another thing that you have to analyze is the people that truly, truly care about you will call you out, will keep you accountable, will allow you to make mistakes, but not let you sit in them, right? And me becoming a Christian, that's been one of the biggest things that I've learned, is that I do have Christian friends now. And it's amazing, because I can go into prayer with them. I can say, hey, you know what, I'm not feeling the greatest. Can you lift up prayer for me? And we just discuss it and we talk about it. And there's a different dynamic, I feel like, in my life with my Christian friends, because there's different topics that we hit. There's different things that we discuss. There's different things that we focus on, because for us, it's our salvation, number one thing. We can discuss what we want to change so that we get closer to God. We can discuss what we want to accomplish with God and our ministries. And I didn't have that before. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little under the weather this week. And I didn't have that before. Before, what I would talk about was, when are we going to drink again? What's the next party we're going to hit up? And so becoming a Christian has really, truly brought me into foundational relationships where God is the main center of everything. And it's been a big blessing. So, always look at the types of friends that you have. Like, who are your fun friends? Who is the friend that you can come and tell everything to and feel not judged, and they actually give you good, solid advice? Who is the one person that that will, like, you can be 100% with, right? For me, that's my husband. He's my best friend. I can come and tell him, like, hey, like, I really messed up, or hey, I'm dealing with this stronghold or this sin or something like that. But if you're not married yet, like, I suggest that you either find a person that you're comfortable with, or if you're a Christian, just lift it up with the Lord. Because we have to be very careful on how much we share with people, not because they're going to, like, backstab you or anything else or use it against you. I mean, they can. That's always a possibility. But because I feel like having a deep relationship is a lot, because you'll co-depend on that person. So you have to be very careful on how much you're willing to share, because the more that you share, the more that you depend on somebody, the harder it'll be if they can't show up for you one time. And I'm saying that because that's happened to me. So just be very selective, be very careful on who you let, everything in, and be careful who you like stress dump on too, because people get tired. Like if I feel tired, I know that when I used to stress dump, it would tire out my friends, and I'm so grateful for them, because they didn't tell me like, I really like, wow, that's a lot. Like, are you okay, girl? But be very, very selective on how you want to handle your emotions. Be very selective on how you are going to just first analyze yourself and then go and share with somebody else, so that they give you a different perspective or a different something, right? Another thing I want to bring out to you guys is, who are the people that you're actually surrounding yourself with? Are they uplifting? Are they positive thinkers? Are they making sure that you see who you truly are, your true potential? Are they picking you up and pushing you out of your comfort zones? Are they telling you like, hey, I know that you're here right now, but you can actually believe in yourself and go after the impossible. Because those people will change your life. The people that can say, get up, do what you have to, stop, feeling sorry for yourself, stop being fearful. Those are the people that are going to push you towards your goals. And I'm very grateful that I found mentors. I found friends that are like that. And I truly feel like friendship should really motivate you to be better. Relationship with people should lift you up and push you to be better, because that's when you know that you're doing life with the right people, right? I no longer care about having a bunch of friends. I care about people that love me and my son, and care about my well-being, and care about where I am emotionally and spiritually. Because life gets tough, right? And so when life gets tough, you want to have the right foundation of friendships to be able to take care of all that stuff. So start analyzing who you have surrounded yourself with. Do they fit the new version of you that you're trying to become? Do they fit the new environment that you're trying to build for yourself? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they respect you? Do they care about your emotions? Do they care about your mindset stuff? Do they care about where you're coming from? Do they care to hear about, what you're going through? And just make sure that, they're not dragging you down, because I've had situations where I felt so exhausted of like giving and being there for somebody, but their situations never change because the actions that they take are the same. So if you're like me and you've got through those relationships that are like, hey, you got deep healing, like that's codependency, right? And so you don't want to limit people either of their healing journey. And so be very cautious on realizing those types of people. Like, that's why I want you guys to analyze everything, because it starts here, but then analyze your people around you, and how can you help them be better? How can you be fruitful to them? How can you feed into them, right? Because it's not all about me. So yeah, guys, start looking at your friendships, start looking at the relationships that we have, start looking at the types of relationships you're trying to have in your life, what you're trying to cultivate. And I'm not saying that your friendships are toxic or anything like that. I hate that people put it in black and white, because people are so complex that you truly have to come in with grace and love and acceptance from the get-go, or nothing's going to change, right? So I hope you guys found some value in this, and we will see you guys next week. God bless.